Hi everyone, it's Melanie. Today I thought I might share with you some of the tags I've been creating for the 52 tag challenge set by Anne Brooke. If you've watched some of my previous videos, you know that I've completed the Sew for the Soul book, which is another of Anne's challenges, which I absolutely loved. I also created the slow stitching roll that's on the bobbin. There are quite a few people joining in this new challenge, and I'll leave a link to Anne's channel below. I post most of my videos on Instagram, so if you're not on Instagram, here are some of the ones I've made. I'm only going to show you the first 10 because otherwise we'll be here all day. This one was tag number 1, and I think the prompt was white. So here I've just used white fabric, white thread and white buttons. A nice fun easy way to start off. I have a little flower up here and I have done some French knots. I don't know if it's picking that up on camera, but there is some nice texture to this tag. And on the back I just write what number it is, the date I completed it, and what happened in the previous week. Just a bit about the tags I'm using. I've actually made these myself. I've used a die to cut out a book page that has been glued to file folder. And the tag die comes with this little piece at the top, which is the little wraparound. And it's a nice size. You can fit quite a lot on here, and easy to make because I have a lot of file folders and old book pages, so really fun. Week 2 was heart on a patchwork background. This one was really fun. I cut out a heart, I think from the same fabric as this, and added some wadding behind, some stitches in gold thread, and I've used some bark cloth here. A little heart button and the writing on the back. Week 3 was Scrappy. I'm not so keen on this tag. The first part of it is stitched on in the way that Anne showed us, so scraps of fabric folded in half and then sewn down the middle. I got really bored doing it that way and decided to just cut squares of fabric and fold them in quarters and then stitch them on like petals of a flower. I don't really like that either. It's really bulky and didn't turn out the way I thought it would, but I've just left this as is, just as a demonstration of the technique, which might be fun to revisit in another way. Tag 4 is fly stitch. For this tag I used the fabric as a guide to indicate where I was going to place the stitches. And what I've learned from seeing this challenge on Instagram in particular is that there are so many ways that you can use the stitches that are in these challenges. Like, I would never think to use these stitches to create flowers or to make them long or short. I would think that, this is the only way you do the stitch. So I've really enjoyed seeing other people's interpretations of the prompts and getting ideas of how to use the stitches and the fabrics in different ways. And I really love learning these new techniques. So this was a fun one. Week 5 was Kisses. Kisses is my favourite. In the Sew for the Soul book, my Kisses page was my favourite spread, and I really enjoyed this one. Crosses, cross stitch, kisses, whatever you want to call them. It's a really easy way to add interest to your pages or to anything that you're stitching. You can overlap them. They can be different sizes, use different coloured threads. I've done some couching over some thread down the bottom here. I've used some fabric that has crosses in it. and I just think it's a really fun, versatile stitch. So I really like this one. Week, what are we up to? 6 was a bevy of buttons. I have a nice stash of buttons and I really enjoyed looking through my tin to match the buttons to the fabric behind it. And so I wanted to follow along with the colour pattern of the fabric and put them in such a way that mimicked the pattern behind. And I've added some lazy daisy stitches to kind of represent petals. And again, I really like this one as well. I love the colours on this one. Week 7 was Hexis. Now this is a different way that we learnt how to create these hexes. Normally you might do paper piecing, but these were actually folded and ironed, I think, in a way that made the hexagon shape. And again, I use the fabric at the back to inform the colours and the patterns that I chose for the hexagons on top. And I've added some buttons, some applique and some French knots. Another pretty one, and you only had to make, look, I've only made 4 hexes on this one and added a few things, so really easy, simple, manageable pieces of slow stitching that you can do at any time. So if you don't want to do them in order or if you're just catching up, really easy to follow along. Week 8 was, hold on, let me just check, French knots, bullion stitch and pistol stitch. I've added bullion knots and French knots here and some more bullion at the top. I didn't actually do pistol stitch on this one. I didn't know where to put them. I thought I might add them at the top here of the flower, but I decided not to because I was just happy with the way that it was as is. And I think I glued it down before finishing or adding the pistol anyway. This is fabric from a skirt that I used to wear, which is nice. This is another fun one. Week 9 was bits and pieces, and a gift. Now I don't actually have a gift on here. I just have bits and pieces that were in my stash. So I've got, I think this is a tag from the Met in New York, which I have been, but this didn't actually come from the time I visited. I can't remember where I picked this up from, but there was a whole bag of them. And I thought it was nice that it was my initial. I've got a snap with some stitches. I've put more snaps on a card, just stitched with a button onto this scrap here. I've got some insertion lace and I've added, can we see, I've added some stitches on that. And then I've done some chain stitch. Maybe you can't see because of the glare. I've added some chain stitch on this one here with a little buckle. And underneath I've just put a piece of tape measure and some butterfly fabric. So this is a nice interactive one and fun to flip through. And the final one that I'll share you at the moment is week 10, and this one was the prompt was a Suffolk puff or yo-yo, whatever you like to call them, and I think lace. And I only put one puff on this one because I really wanted to see that really pretty lace at the bottom and I didn't want to cover it up. And I've just added some chain stitch and lazy daisy and some buttons at the bottom. And this is a really lovely one. The other good thing about these tags is that you can use just small pieces of your favourite fabrics and laces and buttons and still keep the rest in your stash, but it's a really nice way to use some of your favorite pieces and have them all together. So I have others that I need to either complete or write on the back of, and what I normally do is I have a whole bunch of post-it notes and I just write the details on there and stick it to the back of the tag until I'm ready to add the details. And I just use the Uniball Signo pen, which works quite well. And so I still have a few to complete and add to my ring, which will get quite full. And I'm having a lot of fun doing this challenge. So, have you completed this challenge? Are you working through it? What's your favourite tag that you've done? Are you looking to start? If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.